My best friend, 29, won't speak to me since I, 29F, got engaged 2 months ago. Hi. So as the title suggests, my best friend has not spoken to me since the beginning of December. Molly, name changed, and I met 3 years ago on social media. We had been following each other because we have similar interests and live in the same town. One day she messaged me asking to be friends and the rest is history. I was very excited because I don't have many friends and it was so nice to have so many things in common. I already knew of Molly's long-term, 10 years, boyfriend, Tony, because he is a semi-popular musician in our town. Molly is an angel of a human being, hardworking, caring, a real catch. Honestly, I would frequently joke to Tony that if he wasn't going to put a ring on it soon, I would, and that leads me into this whole disaster. As I mentioned, Tony is a fairly well-known musician in our town. He is also known as an overgrown 12-year-old. He is basically your annoying little brother, just taller and with facial hair. I don't dislike the guy at all. He is very talented and fun to be around, in small doses. Do I see what Molly sees in him? No, absolutely not. He farts and burps at the dinner table, insists on blasting while we're trying to have conversations, sleeps until 3 p.m., is unnecessarily loud, demands Molly to cook for him 3 meals a day, has never unloaded a dishwasher or cleaned a thing in his life, etc. Molly is way out of his league, honestly. Yet, she loves him and thinks sun shines out of his behind. The first time I asked Molly about what she wants out of life in the future, she immediately said marriage and kids. I asked about where Tony stands in that area. She said he obviously wants the same. Tony even has his grandmother's ring that was given to him to propose to her. I asked, do you guys talk about it? That's when it came up that he basically shuts down or changes the subject. She doesn't see anything wrong with him responding that way because he just doesn't like serious conversations. This worried me for her, but at this point we didn't know each other well, so I didn't say anything. As time went on, she would talk about wanting to get engaged. She would send me links to rings she liked and ask me to send them to Tony. I did, and every time he would either threaten to block me or ignore me. She sent me her wedding Pinterest board. I sent it to him. He ignored me. She sent me this really heart-wrenching message about how the anniversary of their first date was coming up and how special it would be if he proposed. I told him about it. He told me to shut up. I stopped sending him things after a while because to me, it was very clear. I don't think he wants to commit. I will admit I never actually said that to her, although I don't know if she would ever listen. She always told me I don't know nearly as much about relationships as her because I was either single or not with my boyfriend, now fiancé, as long as she was with Tony. I met Noah a year after I met Molly. I wasn't looking for anything because I had come out of a long-term abusive relationship a year and a half prior, but Noah is something else. He is a total gem. He treats me so incredibly well, and although we took things slow, I knew he was the one quickly. Molly was really happy for me and we ended up hanging out as a group often. Noah and Tony became pretty good friends too. As my relationship with Noah got more serious and we moved in together, Molly joked a few times about killing me if I got engaged before her. Noah and I talked often about our future. He is 3 years younger than me, so it was important that we were on the same page. I want to be married and have kids before I'm 35. The only thing that we don't agree on right now is I want to elope and he wants a huge wedding. My town has been in and out of lockdown for a year now, and while we haven't seen our friends often at all, we have kept in touch daily. Since Noah and I have basically been alone together this whole time, we also have been talking more seriously about our future. I had no idea he had a ring and was going to propose to me when he did, though. He surprised me with my dream ring 2 months ago and I could not have been more happy. I called Molly before I called my family. She didn't pick up, so I texted her a picture of it. I waited a while and didn't hear back, so I called my family. Hours go by and I haven't heard from her. I thought it was weird but was in complete bliss, so I posted a picture on social media and got drunk with my now fiancé and went to bed. Next morning, still nothing from Molly. She did see my picture on social media though. I talked to Noah and that's when he tells me she was cold towards him when he showed her the ring he wanted to get me a few months earlier. I text Molly a few more times, and call her multiple times. She has not spoken to me in 2 months as of today. I reached out to Tony to make sure she was alive and she is. she just won't speak to me. I completely understand that she is upset. And when I reached out after the ring picture, I told her that. I told her we don't have to talk about wedding stuff even. I'm not trying to plan a wedding anytime soon. I just want to talk to my best friend. I'm completely heartbroken. Noah thinks I should stop reaching out because this kind of behavior is selfish on her end. I disagree personally. I can see why she is upset. I just want to talk to her. Should I give up, say something specific, move on? Too long didn't read. Best friend has not spoken to me since I got engaged. Her BF of 10 years won't commit, and I think she's jealous that mine of 2 years will. Should I move on or ask for her back in my life? Edit. I accidentally left out that every time Molly asked me to send Tony something, I screenshotted his responses. Whether he told me to shut up or ignored me, she saw it. When I stopped sending things his way, I told her that I didn't want to anymore because he clearly isn't interested. Edit 2. Tony is 38 and Noah is 27. Edit 3. English is not my first language. I'm sorry for any grammar mistakes. It sounds like there is not really much else you can do. She's having a super immature and selfish response for sure. It may be understandable that she's upset, or jealous. It's not however understandable that she'd be so angry with you that she needs to cut you out of her life. She's obviously trying to punish you, and you continuing to reach out and apologize is probably giving her some kind of sick pleasure that she knows she's hurting you. Relationships aren't competitions. She can come back to you whenever she's ready, but she sounds like she is not a good friend, TBH. She will owe you a serious apology if she ever smartens up. For whatever it's worth, I'm sorry you are being hurt in this way. 3. Much like Molly is too close to the situation to see Tony clearly and makes excuses for his egregious behavior, you're too attached to Molly to see her behavior clearly. Noah has a much better read on this situation than you do. She's punishing you for being in a good relationship. Friends don't do that to each other. She's being selfish and cruel. Stop reaching out to her. And unless she comes to you with the biggest apology you've ever heard and a real understanding of how unacceptable her behavior is, you're better off without her in your life. She's misplacing her anger. She should be upset about her boyfriend not being what she wants him to be. Should have broken up with that guy when it became evident they wanted different things, but instead is settling for an overgrown 12-year-old. Give her time. If she's really your friend, she will reach out eventually. Don't check in on her, just ignore her behavior. She's probably wanting the attention, because based on who she's dating, she herself is probably not as grown up as she might seem. I know it sucks to lose your bestie, but in this case, you getting engaged might be forcing her to examine her life. Stop reaching out. Your fiancé is correct. Molly needs to grow up. Why in God's name was she having you send her partner pictures of rings and Pinterest boards? Perhaps she should have given you a card to send to Tony asking, "Do you want to marry me? Yes? No." Now, she's being passive-aggressive about her jealousy. You talk about not being able to understand why Molly wants Tony in her life, but it seems equally confusing why you want Molly in your life. She's an immature drama queen. Find a new bestie. I don't have many friends, and Molly was a great friend to me for 99% of our friendship. So when she asked me to do silly things like send Tony wedding stuff, I just thought whatever, sure, fine. Letting go of her is so hard. I'm thankful I posted this thought because everyone's input lining up with what Noah has expressed and what was lurking in the back of my mind has been validated by many kind strangers. I, 17F, need to open a checking/saving account for college because my 45M father takes my money from the joint account he opened for me. My father, who is an alcoholic, opened a checking/saving account for me with NFCU 4 years ago when I got my first job. He never touched the money that I deposited into the account until a year ago when our relationship turned rocky. He took out $2,000 from the account. After he broke my trust by stealing the money I had been saving for college, I have been depositing money into my 18M boyfriend's account. Unfortunately, we recently broke up and I no longer have anywhere to deposit my money. I'm not interested in looking for another person jointly own my account, but it seems like no banks offer checking accounts to minors. I know this post may not seem like it belongs here, but r/banking didn't appreciate it either. I don't know what to do or how to deal with this. Too long didn't read. I need to find a new place to open a checking account as a minor because my father steals money from my current one. I don't know what to do. I've just done a quick search, but you can open a savings account at 17 at most banks, which will give you somewhere to put your own money. Or you can open a student account if you have your acceptance letter from college, which will give you a debit card for everyday spending. Edit, spelling. Most banks you can apply online and instantly get an account. Depends where you live, but Santander, SunTrust, and Bank of America are instant and easy. Apply as a student. Also, I am sorry for what you are going through. Protect yourself. Another idea. Buy a cheap safe from Walmart and lock up your cash. Frown. Bank of America, last I recall, will allow 16-year-olds to make a bank account. Also, have you spoken with NCFU customer service and explained the situation? The customer service folks are really kind and usually eager to help out members. The only reason I suggest this is because I have NCFU and I love them dearly. They've always done a lot to help me as a member, whereas Bank of America are kinda jerks. You can open a savings account at 17, and add a checking account once you turn 18. I did the same thing at your age. If I needed to make an online purchase, I used PayPal, which I linked to my savings account. If I needed to make a purchase in person, I withdrew cash from my savings account at an ATM. It's a little less convenient, but it's worth it to keep your parents out of your funds. ETA, I was able to do this at my local credit union. I'm not sure if the larger banks have a policy against it. If NFCU is Navy Federal, definitely call them, or if you're near a branch, go in. They do have a minor membership application and you already have an account, so creating a second one to move your money to is hopefully an easy process. If not, ask the representatives what other options they have available for you to keep your money safe. Fiancé, 31/M, wants to go back to school because my silly parents, late 60s, M and F, made a comment about his level of education. He won't drop the idea. I'm worried he'll kill himself trying. Together 2 years. My parents are both healthcare professionals. My mom is a family doc and my dad is a general dentist. They've had small, suburban practices for years and enjoy a good life. My parents are also incredibly awkward. They say things without thinking sometimes and don't realize what they're saying sounds mean or is myopic. They've done with my entire life. I've learned to accept that they don't mean anything. They're just as awkward as shitting in public. Enter my fiancé. He dropped out of university to care for a sick sister and then mother. Both recuperated because of him, literally, so he joined the service, became an RN, then worked in the civilian world, where he was an ICU nurse, a flight/transport nurse, then became a CRNA, doctorate. Since everything kicked off, he's been working non-stop and is either helping out in one area of the hospital or in the ICU lending a hand. He's been teaching, mentoring new nurses and even advising on health policy. Throughout this, he's been talking about getting a PhD. I supported his ambition. It seems like overkill, but okay, what do I know? I teach music. He's been really seriously motivated and I couldn't figure out why. Turns out, my dingbat parents once joked about him not being able to get into medical school because he became a nurse rather than go to medical school. Well, after pushing and getting that answer, I found out he did want to go to medical school, but from about 17 to 22 he had cared for his sister and then mother. Once he looked at everything, he realized he would have to put off having a family for years and made the choice to drop that dream. Instead, he was a well-respected ICU nurse, transport/flight nurse, and is well respected and like in his current role. Because of everything that's transpired over the last year, including a bout of COVID-19 ourselves, my fiancé, I'm going to call him Tom, has been run ragged. He comes home and collapses. He studies many evenings, doing recertification. Saw him studying something about neonatal care recently. It was gruesome. He sometimes comes home, sleeps for an hour, eats, bathes, and sleeps until it's time to get up. He runs constantly and they're dealing with a shortage of people. On an off day they've asked him to do inoculations and help out with day surgery, so some months he only has a couple of days off. I'm really worried for his mental and physical health. Moreover, with his desire to get ready to do a PhD, he'd need to start studying for the GRE and a bunch of other things. My feeling is he'll collapse and die, but I can't get through to him. He often says he feels like a failure because he couldn't make his dream happen. My parents' idiotic jokes, which they made a few times, though to be fair both of them deeply love and respect him, and through their networks have heard great things about him from colleagues, really cut deep, and I don't have the words to make him feel better and try and care for himself. I don't know how to go get through to him. How do I get someone like him to see their successes, and how can I give him a confidence boost? Too long didn't read. Parents, doctors, made joke that nurse fiancé couldn't make it as a doctor. He wanted to, but family circumstances prevented him from going. He's a well-respected, well-liked CRNA instead and wants to do a PhD despite people's perception that he didn't make it in life. Don't know how to get through to him about this, and am deeply worried about his mental and physical health.